The number one problem I come across with presentations is people have the knowledge of what they're trying to say. They just don't know how to say it. You might specialize in the topic you're talking about, but you don't necessarily specialize in communication. And the consulting industry has its issues, but this is one thing undeniably they do really well. They have to take complex ideas and not only make them easy to understand and easy to follow, but persuasive. So in this video, I'm going to teach you exactly what these companies do to take complex ideas and make them simple. Tip number one, stop talking about your process. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see with technical presentations. You've done a lot of work already and you want to show that work. But the problem is most people don't care to see that. So instead of showing your process, show the result, or even better, show the insight. The process is what you did, the result is what came out of it, but the insight is why that result matters for your audience. Most presentations tend to focus here, but really you should be more focused here. So for example, process might be something like, we tracked website conversion percentage. Result might be website conversion percentage is 1%. And then insight could be, if our website converted at industry average, we would increase sales 25%. The audience doesn't have time to listen to everything you want to share. Plus it just introduces noise. Focus on the result and focus on the insight. Not just what you did, but what the result was and why it matters for your audience. Tip number two is simplify, simplify, simplify. It can be easy to assume that your audience already knows what you're talking about, the topics and the terms and the general concepts. But this is a really big oversight because oftentimes they don't. So first thing to do is just replace all the technical, complicated concepts and ideas with plain, simple language, and even analogies can work sometimes. Instead of saying we need to address the impedance mismatch between the legacy monolithic architecture and the new microservices-based APIs to prevent data hydration issues, just say, we need to fix how our old system talks to the new one, or we'll lose important customer data. This is actually where AI can really come in handy. Ask it to review your presentation for topics or ideas or concepts that might be hard to understand. Give it detail about the audience you're presenting to, and just say, do you think they'll understand this? If not, what could we improve? Another way to simplify your presentations is with clear visuals. This is actually something consulting firms tend to do pretty well. Sometimes this can mean a nice, simple, basic chart, but other times the visuals are more conceptual. In either case, it can really help your audience understand what you're trying to say. An easy rule of thumb here is just assume your audience is not smart at all. You're not dumbing your message down, you're just translating it for someone that doesn't speak your same language. Next tip is to cut down your content. Most presentations have way too much information. And not only do people not want to see that information, but it's just overwhelming, uninteresting, and just is a distraction most of the time. So do your audience a favor and trim it down. Good rule of thumb here is to take 30% of your presentation and just cut it out completely. Shorten your sentences and remove all those filler phrases. Again, this is where AI tools can actually be really helpful. Take a block of text and ask it to simplify it down without losing the meaning. Then once you've removed 30%, take another 30% of your presentation and just put it in the appendix. What you want to do here is just think about your overall story and some of the weakest parts of that story and just pluck those out and put them in the appendix, especially if those slides are about process. You can always refer to those during the presentation, but you don't want them to be a distraction because you want to focus on the main message you're trying to communicate. Now, if you're trying to tell a clear and consistent story from start to finish with nice design language and good visuals, you're going to want a really good template and not just some random template that doesn't really fit your needs. So I was actually in a similar situation lately where I needed a really solid, professionally designed template. And thankfully, I found a company called Prezlab. Prezlab is a strategic presentation consultancy that helps people translate their ideas into clear and structured and impactful presentations. And that's exactly what they did with me. There's a lot of template design agencies out there, but Prezlab's different. I didn't just send them a brief of what I wanted and say, hey, design something with these colors. We've been working hand in hand and it's been a really good process. Here's a sneak peek at the template we're creating. And as you can tell, it looks really good. Overall, I've been really impressed with their service and I've recommended them to multiple people. So if you're in need of a nice, professionally designed template, then make sure you check them out. I'll include a link down in the description below. Tip number 4 is add an introduction. You will not believe how many people forget to do this. They're focused too much on the actual main content of their presentation, and they just forget to put that content in context. Executives go from meeting to meeting, and so when they come into your presentation, you need to engage them. Here's the background for this presentation, and here's why it matters for you right now. Another way to think about this is like a YouTube video. If I have a 10-minute video, I have to tell you in the first 30 seconds or a minute why you should watch the whole video. Is it relevant to you? Is it going to be interesting and fun and practical? A presentation is very similar. Why should they pay attention? Why should they care about your content? So for example, let's say you're giving an update on some large technology implementation project at your work. Don't just jump into the update. Hey, we're on track, we're not on track. Take at least one slide, maybe more, to show what the status update was last time and where this project fits into the overall goals of the company or the department. It's going to feel simple and repetitive, but it's going to make a major difference. If you want a full video about introductions, let me know down in the comments, and I'm happy to dive into this topic in much more detail. Tip number 5 is to tell the audience what they should focus on. Your audience needs help sifting through the information you're presenting to them. They need to understand what the key takeaway is. So it's best if you can just spell it out. Now, there's a few different ways to do this. The first is with the structure of the presentation itself. Once you have your introduction in place, then just jump straight into the main takeaway. You don't have to save it for the end of the presentation. Going back to that status update example, put the status update right at the beginning, and then you can go into the different detailed parts of that update. This is the concept of Barbara Minto's pyramid principle, where you start at the top of the pyramid with your main idea, then just go into increasing levels of detail. It makes your content so much easier to follow, and it tells them what you want them to focus on. Another way to think about this is with the slides themselves, because it's not just your presentation that's a pyramid. You can also think of your slides like mini pyramids with the main idea right in the title. You just got to make sure your titles are descriptive. What do I want my audience to believe? Just put that right in the title in a complete sentence. And then lastly, tell your audience what to focus on within the content itself. In your charts, for example, instead of just putting the chart, put the takeaway of that chart, what you want your audience to focus on, right next to the chart or right above it. Just makes it so much easier to understand. Tip number 6 is to show them what to focus on. Once you've told them what to focus on with descriptive titles and clear takeaways, draw attention to those takeaways with color and bolding and any other visual element that's going to help them cut through the noise. This is something that consulting firms actually do really well. They use all of these techniques to their advantage to keep their audience from getting overwhelmed with charts and text and all of the information that they're dumping into their presentation. Notice how this title is big and it's bold. It's because they want you to read this first. Remember the pyramid principle. And then this chart uses color to draw attention to the important parts, which is going to make it so much easier for the audience to understand. Now, a bonus tip here is to think about what you want them to not get distracted by. So things like footnotes and sources and supporting information. Make that in kind of a lighter, less distracting color like gray or black, and make it smaller. All these things are going to help your audience sift through all the information and focus on what really matters. There's so much more that I want to say on all of these topics. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff and you want to learn more, make sure you check out our live trainings and our courses and all of our other free resources over at theanalystacademy.com. All right, thanks for watching.